Hi there, I'm John of John's Carnivorous Plants, and this is my indoor nursery. Today, I'm tackling a topic that is rather commonly asked. Why is peat perlite the industry solution for most carnivorous plants? Well, it's a two-pronged thing. We need something that is cost-effective in the industry, and we also need something that is light for shipping. So you might be wondering, like, okay, what goes into our thought process here? Generally speaking, most carnivorous plants will do better with sand in their mix than perlite, or like a combination of perlite and sand for drainage. Sand typically adds a lot of weight to a pot, and hate to say it, it's just not feasible to ship 1 to 2 pound pots to people all the time of these like smaller carnivorous plants. It adds up on the shipping way too quickly. So we use the peat because peat provides acidity, moisture retention, and for most of these plants is actually what they're naturally growing in the wild. They're either growing in long fiber sphagnum moss, peat, or humus, which is the cycle of how the moss breaks down. And that acidity and the fact that most of these plants have a natural affinity for it play a role into why we use peat. Now, there are some countries around the world that are starting to ban peat, and for the next video, it's going to be talking about other alternative mediums. But in general, peat is the standard currently in the United States, and in the next few years, like, well, probably 15, 20 years, I can definitely see the United States even moving away from peat as well. Now, perlite, it's used for adding drainage, and the fact is it's incredibly light. You can get giant bags of this stuff and they're barely like 30 pounds. Incredibly light, very much so for adding drainage. And they also help prevent the peat from compacting, because peat over time, as it like goes through the wet dry cycle with the carnivorous plants, will tend to become a very dense brick over time, and that's not very good for carnivorous plant roots. So you want to have some level of perlite to reduce the density and prevent the compaction. Now this like the mix of the two tends to be very cheap. It's effective, components are readily available across the entirety of the US, and it pretty much can be applied to most of the plants. Now, is it optimal for most of the plants? Probably not. You'll even see some nurseries use peat perlite for nepenthes or helianthera and all kinds of other plants that you probably shouldn't use it for. Does it work for them? Yes. Do I recommend it? No. So I definitely have to suggest do some research into what is available for you for your budget and what you can do. The peat perlite, like for example, you bought a plant off me, you're going to get one potted with peat perlite unless you got one of the sundews, in which case it's coming unpotted. With that, you don't really have to think too much. Just leave it in the pot, it's good to go. However, if you buy something that is already coming to you bare root, might as well spend a few extra dollars if you just have a small collection to get the better bag of medium. You know, you can get things like orchid bark, pine bark, all kinds of stuff, and I'll talk about that in my next video. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed this and gave you some kind of insight, please like, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Please join the Carnivorous Plant Discord if you want to talk plants. Leave a comment about any suggestions for future rant videos, and thank you so much for watching. Please check out my website, buy some plants to support me. Happy growing. See you on the next one.